He's barking, sitting across from a goth streamer named Pinkchyu on a Kick livestream watched by hundreds of thousands of people. One of the best-selling music artists of all time is barking like a dog to make a woman laugh. It's August 2026, and Drake is doing a livestream called 20 Women vs. Drake. It's a 3-hour Nelk-produced dating format where he's meeting 20 women back-to-back, most of them creators, most of them from OnlyFans, all of them auditioning in real time to be his wife, his bestie, or something in between. By the end of the night, he's picked his 3 finalists, and he's offered to buy one of their mothers a house. And the internet, every single corner of it, is talking about him again, clipping the stream and reposting it everywhere from YouTube to TikTok within hours. But here's the part nobody's really asking. Why does Drake, a 38-year-old billionaire with nothing left to prove, keep doing this? Not because he's bored, not because he lost the plot, because whether you find it charming or humiliating, this is the same skill that kept Aubrey Graham at the top of music for over 15 years, through ghostwriting scandals, through a beef that was supposed to end him, through a career that should have quietly faded like every other rapper's does. Drake doesn't just make music, Drake makes content out of himself, on a loop, forever, and that's why he will never fall off. Before we get into the strategy, you need 10 seconds of context because the rise matters less than the pattern underneath it. Drake started as a child actor on Degrassi playing Jimmy Brooks, a basketball star who gets shot and ends up in a wheelchair. He was mocked for it by other rappers early in his career. Wheelchair Jimmy is trying to be a rapper, but that Degrassi fame did something most rappers never get. It gave him a built-in audience before he'd written a single bar people actually cared about. Then came So Far Gone, the Lil Wayne cosign, Thank Me Later, Take Care, a genuine dominant run. By 2015, he was already being investigated for using ghostwriters like Quentin Miller, already being accused of stealing sounds from Atlanta, Jamaica, the UK, wherever the internet's attention happened to be that month. And that's the part that everyone missed. The criticism was never actually a threat to Drake because Drake doesn't need you to like him. He needs you to talk about him. The ghostwriting scandal, talked about. Bad haircut, talked about for 6 months straight. Every scandal in Drake's career has done the exact same thing, put his name back in your mouth. And once you understand that one mechanic, everything he's done for the last 2 years, the Nelk stream, the gambling live streams, the podcast appearances, it stops looking chaotic and starts looking like a system. There are 5 moves Drake runs on a loop, and once you see them, you'll spot them in literally everything he does. Move 1. Say the quiet thing out loud years in advance. Back in 2023, that now infamous deliberately awkward interview with podcaster Bobby Altoff, where the two of them sat on a bed barely making eye contact. Bobby at one point claiming she'd never heard a Drake song. Drake said something that at that time felt like a throwaway line. He said he wanted to get into his emo bag, and that his ideal woman going forward was a goth baddie.
What do you imagine your wife to look like?
Some tweaked out goth, kind of tatted all over.
At the time, it was treated as just another weird, quotable moment from a weird, quotable interview. One clip among dozens that came out of that sit down, nobody thought much of it. Except the clip actually never went away. It got cut, captioned, reposted on TikTok almost immediately, racking up millions of views on its own before the full interview was eventually pulled down entirely. And instead of fading out the way most viral clips do after weeks, this one kept getting dug back up. Through 2024, fan pages and meme accounts kept recirculating the goth baddie line completely independent of anything Drake was doing at the time. It became one of those quotes that just lives permanently in the Drake meme rotation, the same way certain movie lines get reposted for years with no new context needed. People weren't even talking about a current event, they were just resurfacing an old soundbite because it was funny and specific enough to survive on its own. So by the time August 2026 rolls around, the Nelk-produced kick stream, 20 women in front of him, and the one he ends up flirting with and barking for is a goth-styled OnlyFans creator who literally built her whole persona around the words, the goth baddie. The internet didn't go digging for context. The clip was already primed and waiting because it had never actually stopped circulating. Within minutes, people had the 2023 clip and the 2026 livestream moment side by side, treating it less like a coincidence and more like a callback that had been 2 years in the making. And there's an extra layer to it too. Drake had previously clowned IShowSpeed on stream for barking at women, telling him to knock it off, and the internet had that saved as well. So when Drake did the exact same thing months later, people didn't just have one receipt, they had 2. They made sure both circulated together, framing it as Drake getting called out by his own advice. That's the real mechanic here. Drake doesn't just plant and quote in hopes it pays off later. He benefits from the fact that the internet never actually deletes anything. A stray line from a 2023 interview can sit dormant for 2 years, get revived a dozen times with 0 new material, and then detonate all over again the moment reality lines up with it. Whether that's calculated or just lucky almost doesn't matter anymore, because either way the effect is the same. The internet keeps his old quotes in permanent rotation, essentially running his PR for him for free, years after he said them. Moving on, move 2 that Drake pulls is go stand exactly where the youngest, loudest platform already is. Drake doesn't wait for culture to come to him anymore. He goes and plants his flag inside whatever platform Gen Z is currently obsessed with, before the mainstream media even understands what that platform is. When Kai Cenat and IShowSpeed were doing their Minecraft Marathon livestream, arguably the biggest live streaming event of the year, Drake didn't post a tweet about it. He texted Kai Cenat directly midstream asking for tips on how to beat the game. Kai reads the texts out loud to hundreds of thousands of live viewers, and Drake quite literally inserted himself into someone else's viral moment in real time. Kai Cenat previewed an unreleased Drake and Lil Yachty collaboration on stream before it existed as an official single, meaning Drake used the streamer's channel as his actual promotional rollout months ahead of any label press release. And then there's Kick, the platform every major streaming personality moved to for the gambling money, and Drake didn't just advertise it, he became one of its faces, going live for hours at a time, betting hundreds of thousands of dollars. None of that is an accident. Drake isn't keeping up with the internet, he's front running it, showing up in the exact rooms 19-year-olds are already in, before those rooms are cool enough for anyone else's age to notice. And move 3 is to turn his own worst, weirdest, most embarrassing moments into a character. In December 2023, during a Kick livestream sponsored by the gambling platform Stake, Drake was chasing something called a max win, biggest possible payout multiplier on a slot, and at one point, wearing a ridiculous hat, hyping himself up, he said the iconic line, "I need a max win."
I need a max win.
That's it, that's the whole clip. A grown man in a silly hat, gambling on a live stream, hyping himself up over a slot machine payout. It should have been nothing. Instead, the internet turned it into a full-blown meme. Anita Max Win, a pun so dumb it becomes a character. Drake didn't fight it or ignore it, he leaned all the way in. He started wearing a custom I Need a Max Win merch. He referenced the alter ego himself in later streams, and a throwaway gambling line became a reoccurring bit that resurfaces every time he's on Kick. And every time it resurfaces, it's free advertising with his name attached. And this is the trick celebrities get wrong. When the internet makes fun of you, your instinct is to disappear and let it die down. Drake's instinct is the opposite. Grab the joke, put it on a hat, sell it back to the people making fun of you. It's not damage control, it's monetized self-awareness. And move 4 is the Drake curse. Turn a running joke about your bad luck into a permanent talking point. For years now, sports fans have joked that any team or athlete that Drake publicly supports is doomed to lose. The so-called Drake curse. He's been blamed for Serena Williams losing a US Open semifinal after he sat courtside cheering her on. He's been blamed for Kentucky Wildcats losses, for Conor McGregor for going down at UFC 229, and for the Alabama Crimson Tide dropping championships. A normal celebrity would hate this. It's a joke that literally frames you as bad luck, but Drake has never once tried to shut it down. He shows up courtside anyway. He keeps live betting on stream anyway. He lets people keep track of his losses in real time. Because the curse does something incredibly useful for him. It turns every single sporting event, fight, or gambling stream he touches into a Drake storyline. Whether his side wins or loses, losing isn't a threat to the brand. Losing is content. The joke doesn't need him to be right, it just needs him to be present, and he shows up constantly, which is exactly the point. Move 5 is reply to the joke about yourself before anyone else can. One of the most consistent, least talked about things Drake does is simply engage directly with the memes made about him, liking fans' comments, replying to posts roasting him, occasionally screenshotting a joke and reposting it himself. When a fan page jokes about his hairline, his gambling losses, his dating life, or a bad take he had years ago, Drake is often the first one in the comments acknowledging it. It sounds small, but it's a strategic move most celebrities are too image conscious to make. Silence around a joke lets the joke live on its own and eventually die down. Drake engaging with it does the opposite. It confirms he saw it. It rewards the person who made it with the reply from the global superstar. And it guarantees the joke gets screenshotted and recirculated with the caption, "Drake liked this." He's not just tolerating the meme economy built around him, he's actually feeding it one at a time, keeping his name in circulation without spending a single dollar on marketing. Everything you just watched him do online, Drake has been doing musically for over a decade. Before he was showing up in Kai Cenat's chat, before he was showing up in regional rap scenes right before they blew up, just early enough to look like a tastemaker, he was colonizing the underground before it goes mainstream. In 2019, UK drill was still a mostly underground South London sound. Dark, sparse, built on sliding 808s, that cold, minimal energy that separated it from his Chicago drill roots. Drake didn't wait for it to cross over. He got a UK producer, Axel Beats, to build him War, a song that put him rapping directly over UK drill production. While the genre was still finding its mainstream footing, overnight, a scene that had been a British underground movement was suddenly something American audiences were Googling because Drake had touched it. He ran the same play with Brooklyn drill. After Pop Smoke passed away, there was a void left in the New York drill scene. Drake linked up with Fabio Foreign, one of the artists carrying that sound forward, and brought him out on the track Demons. It gave Fabio a massive mainstream cosign at a pivotal moment for Brooklyn drill, and it gave Drake something just as valuable: instant credibility credibility with the sound and a borough's worth of listeners that weren't naturally his audience. This is the pattern. Drake finds a sound that's already got heat and momentum on the ground, UK drill, Brooklyn drill, dancehall, Afrobeats, you name it. And he shows up right at the moment it's about to break into the mainstream, attaches his name to it, and lets the wave carry him into a whole new audience that didn't grow up on Take Care. It's the exact same instinct as jumping into Kai Cenat's livestream. Find where the energy already is. Don't build the wave, just get on it right before it crests. In 2023, Drake released For All the Dogs, and if you actually look at the writing credits, something interesting jumps out. Lil Yachty has songwriting production credits on 5 different songs on the album: Calling For You, What Would Pluto Do, Away From Home, Polar Opposites, and Another Late Night. That's not a guest feature here or there, that's Yachty's fingerprints spread across nearly a quarter of the track list. Lil Yachty's fanbase skews significantly younger than Drake's original audience. Kids who grew up on Yachty's internet native adjacent sound, not kids who grew up on So Far Gone. By pulling Yachty that deeply into the writing process, Drake isn't just getting good songs, he's borrowing Yachty's exact sonic fingerprint and by extension, borrowing Yachty's audience, the same way he borrowed Fabio Foreign's Brooklyn drill and Axel Beats' UK drill audience. And it shows up on the writing itself. On Jumbotron Shit Poppin', there's a line where Drake says, "She's vaping in my room, that shit lit up like a glow lamp." That is pure Yachty lyrics dropped straight into a Drake song. It's a small detail, but it's the exact same trick as the Goth Baddie quote, landing 2 years before the 20 vs 1 video. Plant the reference, let the internet age into it, and have it pay off. And it shows that Drake is still fluent in whatever younger audiences are actually saying and posting. Just quickly, because you already know the story and frankly everyone's tired of it, 2024 gave us the Kendrick Lamar beef, Not Like Us, the petitions against Universal Music Group, all of it. We're not doing a deep dive here, that ground has already been covered to death, but it's worth mentioning for exactly one reason. It's the biggest stress test this entire relevance system has been put through. Drake still didn't disappear. He lost the beef by pretty much almost every metric that matters, culturally, commercially, on the charts. Any kind of weaker celebrity brand would absolutely collapse under that kind of loss, but instead, Drake just kept posting, he kept going live, he kept showing up in Kai Cenat's chat, he kept doing kick streams, he kept dropping into random creator ecosystems until the beef became one more thing that just happened to him, rather than the thing that defined him. The relevance machine doesn't need him to win, it just needs him to keep showing up in front of you. So here's the actual thesis, stripped all the way down. Most artists treat relevance like a byproduct of good work. You make something great and attention follows. Drake treats relevance as the product itself. The music, the streams, the interviews, the gambling, the dating show, they are just delivery mechanisms. He studies what teenagers are watching before their parents know the platform's name. He plants quotes about goth baddies 2 years before he needs them to pay off, and lets the internet's own habit of never deleting anything do the work of keeping them alive. He takes his most embarrassing livestream moment and turns it into merch. He lets a sports betting joke about his own bad luck follow him everywhere instead of shutting it down. He likes a meme about himself before you even finish laughing at it, and musically, he's run the exact same play for over a decade, borrowing the sound and attaching himself to it right before the main audience becomes attached. That's not a guy who's lost the plot. That's a guy who understood a long time ago that in the current internet, being loved is optional, but being impossible to look away from is the only real form of job security left, which is the actual answer to the question in the title. Drake will never fall off, not because his music will always be great, it probably won't always be, but because he has built himself into something bigger than a musician. He's built himself into a permanent main character of the internet, and the internet, whether they want to admit it or not, has never once been able to stop talking about him.